doing this thing.
Oh my God. Hello, everybody in the universe, and our listeners specifically.
Welcome to the biggest podcast on Earth, the biggest podcast in all of the Starfield.
That's right. There isn't a bigger one. We checked.
Rhett doesn't look convinced, but, you know,
I mean, the biggest podcast in these 3 rooms, without a
Yeah,
doubt.
that's fair.
that's the known universe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what else you want from this life. Fucking nothing, friend.
I don't think we can make that claim until we get that Manscaped sponsorship.
Yeah, that's
Although,
fair.
I seem to recall me telling Manscaped to go fuck themselves over Twitter, so that one might be a stretch at
Oops.
this point. Oops. Yeah.
I'm going to go for like the Phillips One Blade or something.
Harry's razors, man. Harry's
Harry's?
razors. Yeah. I've tested them both.
There's still
Harry's the way to go.
Dollar Shave Club, too, if either of those falls.
Oh
through.
yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
For those of you who are not watching, merely listening, each of our video screens has a sort of like color scheme going on, whereas like Rhett's got a sort of blue and pink thing going, and then Paul's more of a like pink and shades of pink, and I've got that sort of like warm lamplight with a
Yeah.
little bit of blue sky. We're all very colored.
And those new frames, by the way, Paul?
no, but I did just recently re-find them.
Oh,
Because
nice.
when we moved, stuff went places, and
Yeah.
I don't like need glasses, but it helps with headaches if I'm staring at a screen and stuff. So
Nice.
found them again, feeling really good about them.
Yeah, looking good. Looking good.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate that. So welcome everybody. Press X the podcast here. Paul, Rhett, James, alongside you, back again. Talk about video games. We've done this regularly enough for the last couple of times that I remember what we do here. It's video games. Play
Oh,
them,
hell yeah.
Talk about them. Ostensibly, some of us have played video games in the past couple of weeks and have stuff to say about them. So that's what we're going to do here today, tonight, this evening. Talk about the video games. I feel like we should start with new stuff because I know for myself, I've been playing a lot of Starfield and really just kind of hating my life, hating myself for it. So let's not talk about that. Let's leave that for a while. Let's start on a positive note if we can.
Positive notes suck. Tell me why you hate your life because of Starfield.
All right, my opinions my subjective opinions have somewhat soured. The objective opinions remain the same. That it's a very kind of medium game,
Yeah.
but it's got a lot of design flaws.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that
Okay.
that came to a head last night when I was kind of avoiding the main missions, as you do in a Bethesda game. Started doing some of those and was shocked to discover that most of the main missions occur in locations that are also part of the Radiant quests. So, you know that deserted UC listening post that you've come across on like 5,000 different planets? Well, that's part of one of the main missions. I was like, and it's literally identical. Enemy placement's exactly the same. Item placement exactly the same. There's a safe here. There's a digipick on this desk. I'm like, it's shockingly, I don't want to say lazy game design, but it feels pretty lazy.
Mm.
Yeah, you sort of memorize the layout of one of the like bases. There's a specific one you're like, oh, I've seen this one. I've seen this one a grip of times.
You're like, this is the mine. There's one.
Yeah.
This is the listening post. There's one. And they're all identical, not close, identical. There's nothing randomized. How can that be? Do they have designers?
Well, yes,
whole-
they did. They designed the listening post in the mine.
But like, this 95% of the game is procedural. What's going on here? You couldn't take the pieces of these places apart and reassemble them in different ways? Come on.
Maybe they tried and the game went cross-eyed, like super bad.
That's another thing. The game is going cross-eyed. The more you play this thing, the longer the load times get. longer and longer and longer. I can't imagine what it would be like on Xbox at this point, but on PC, very fast SSD. It's 30 plus seconds to open a door.
Ouch.
I have definitely not gotten to that point. I've played like at least 30 hours.
Yeah, I'm
That's crazy.
probably somewhere in that range. So I don't know if I just did something that's weird, but the seams are
You're
starting to
playing
show.
on
PC.
you're playing on PC. Yeah. I've heard it's not great. I've heard the PC Starfield experience not amazing.
The seams are starting to come apart in lots of different places. Like I landed on a planet and the ship wasn't there. Okay,
stuff.
I guess I have to go back to an old save because I can't leave the planet. The ship's not here. Things like that. But design-wise, I don't think the game does a very good job of respecting your time. The skill trees are needlessly weighted towards the bottom end. Like, you have to spend a shitload of points to get doing anything in a whole bunch of the different systems. If you want to,
Like Starship design, yeah.
yeah, if you want to build a ship, you've got to spend like 1 billion points on other stuff that's nonsense. You want to do okay at outposts, you've got to put like 5 points into thievery. Like, it makes no sense. Anyway, strong feelings about that. Also, I don't know how far anybody is into the story, but there's a point, some might call it the midpoint, when the stakes change for the hero, where what they came up with, I can't believe the name that they came up with is the name that they went with.
For what, the bad dudes?
Yeah, for the bad dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah, spoilers. Skip ahead like 30 seconds if you don't want to hear anything. Or just plug your ears. I don't know. Starborn. Starborn?
Christ, that's lame.
When
See,
the last thing you did, you had the Dragonborn? Come on.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, someone was asleep at the wheel with that one.
yeah, I don't know. It's just
You
Yeah.
would think.
it,
You would think with all the fucking dialogue they love to put into their games, they would have been able to come up with something better than that. But
it really feels like the main quest in any Bethesda game is a sort of afterthought where they're just like, oh fuck, we're supposed to have one of these is supposed to be the big story, and then they just kind of pick one and you're like, it's fine. Because like all the side content is generally better, at least so far. Because I've tried playing the main quest. I'm like, this is boring as shit. I want to go fight a fucking terramorph or like, become a fucking space cowboy, like do some cool shit. Not this. This is awful.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a bunch of fucking fetch quests where you have to dig some powers out of a rock. Get fucked.
so I take it it's no longer a solid 7.
I mean,
I think it's still like a 7-ish.
But not a solid 7.
for me, it's still pretty clean 7 out of 10. Where I'm just like, yeah, because like the spaceship design is really amazing, and the fucking I love the guns. I love the fact that they have so much variety, and that like
Too bad you can't attach anything to your guns unless you spend points in a bunch of different things and get an outpost going because, well, you're never going to find all those components to build things.
yeah, it feels like at Outposts I was like fucking with a bit, and then I'm just like, maybe I'll find like a really comprehensive guide or something, and then I'll just follow that because this is a lot of work, and I have a very short attention span.
Yeah, I started doing an outpost and I got reasonably into it, building things, and then I thought, it'd be really cool if this system worked. Because they make everything you have to do so obtuse. Never before in a game have I had to Google so many things. How to delete an outpost in Starfield. Like, because it's not part of the outpost interface. You have to go out of the outpost interface, go up to the computer or go up to the outpost beacon, and then hold a button to delete it.
Huh. Okay.
Small example, but there's plenty of those kinds of things where it's like, how the fuck do you do this? Anyway, Starfield, probably going to keep playing it anyway.
Yeah, that's it. I'll definitely dip back in several times before I eventually give up. But you know, because all the like a lot of the faction quests are really fucking cool. Like I did the Freestar Collective one. My reward for that, a big fuck off starship. So I was like, well, I'm definitely doing the other faction quest now.
It's a good ship.
Yeah, it's a great ship. It doesn't have any like stations for like building shit, but like I have an outpost which just like a home base that has all that. So I'm like, I don't care.
Oh, hey, remember when we were talking about putting ships together and there's ladders everywhere?
Yeah.
I was doing some testing on that, putting ships together. The order that you attach things matters because it picks where to put ladders and doors. And it might not pick the same way if you don't do it in a very particular order. I have not sussed out what that right order is to avoid ladder hell, but I believe a solution exists. There's probably a YouTube video on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd
Brett,
love to
do you want-
contribute, but I've put about 90 minutes into the game, so
Okay.
I'm basically useless.
What have you been playing, Rhett?
Starfield. So a lot of Baldur's Gate, but if you want to move
Okay.
on to something new, uh, uh, the Crew Motorfest.
Okay.
And,
How's
and
that?
Cyberpunk.
How's the crew?
So the crew's good. The crew's good. You talk about a solid 7. I think I gave it an 8 actually, but yeah, definitely a solid 7 to 8. Best handling in the series so far, which was a big issue in the past 2 games with me. Not just it. It's still arcadey in this one, but it feels a lot better. You feel like your car's grip to the road a lot better. The big problem with it though is that it's kind of lost its identity, moving away from having a map that covers the entire United States versus now just covering Oahu and Hawaii.
Taking the Forza Horizon approach.
Yeah, exactly. And you can tell that a lot of Motorfest, the vast majority of Motorfest was inspired by Horizon, for better and worse. It works much like Horizon in that you kind of always feel like you have something to do. You never have to like go into the pause menu to start your next mission, to start your next race, to start your next playlist. Once you finish something, the GPS system will suggest things for you that you can do with the tap of a button. You can just be off to your next thing. So it flows really well, but it's got its issues for sure. Like I said, I feel like it has a bit of an identity crisis. Not only not sticking with the map that is as interesting as the entire United States, but man, like I don't expect there to be a good narrative in a racing game, but this one, there's nothing here. There's nothing here to really push you forward as far as the story goes. It's basically just race after race after race, peppered by some of the most annoying, cringy dialogue you've probably ever heard in a game. We've talked about like that. I said in my review, like mostly everybody that comes over your radio and talks to you during races has this like, whoa, bro mentality. This kind of you know, it very much reminded me of fucking what was the last Ubisoft like downhill mountain
Oh yeah,
biking.
yeah, yeah. I know
Riders
the one you're
Republic.
talking about.
Riders
Riders
Republic.
Republic.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
remember Paul burying it for that. And yeah, so I don't think that you would enjoy the dialogue in this one too much, Paul, because it's like the same thing. Everything is just like,
Well,
sweet corner, dude. Oh,
well,
you're rocking it.
because
And
it takes place in Oahu, right? Like, so they're trying to
yeah,
get that vibe,
yeah, yeah.
the
Uh,
insufferable vibe.
but I mean, end of the day, like I will say, focusing the map and just it's obviously a lot smaller than their previous two maps, but being able to like kind of hone their focus and focus on just one part of the US, it looks a lot better than the previous two games. Most of the island actually looks great. Really good lighting effects. The roads, the rain effects are cool. Uh, yeah, and I mean, above all else, like I said, the big thing is that the cars handle better than they ever have. So, regardless of what you think of the map or the characters or the lack of a narrative, I would say that it's more fun to drive in this one than any other. So, yeah,
It's
all right.
It's a decent thing to get right in a racing game.
Yep, yep. Can't complain about
racing.
it too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like, I'll just if they don't go back to the U.S., if it's to a map where they cover the full U.S., I'm always going to be longing for that sort of sense of awe in those moments where I'm sitting in Los Angeles and I've got a friend. I've got, let's say, a couple friends. One of them is in Chicago. One of them is in Dallas. One of them is in New York, across the country. And everybody's like, kind of working towards the same goal, but in different parts of the country. It was really an experience that you couldn't get anywhere else. And now it feels a lot more by the books. So,
That's probably by design.
yeah.
Unfortunately, for those of us who like creativity, color paint by numbers is kind of the way of things a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
Here in this fine industry we call.
Mm-hmm.
What do we call
There's
it?
an
Video
issue as
games.
well. So they do this thing where if you're in any location on the map, if you're ripping down a highway, let's say, you will you'll ghost through other racers, but you won't ghost through traffic, NPC traffic. And when you're ripping it 400 kilometers an hour, it gets a little tough to differentiate between the two. So there have been plenty of times where I've thought that, oh, this person approaching is obviously somebody doing a race, and I smash into the back of them, flip off of a fucking bridge or something like that. Yeah, things like that'll happen. It'll kind of slow you down, so to speak. But no, it's been all right.
Who
Is
who
it
makes
better than Horizon? Probably not. But if you've been playing Horizon ever since release, this might work as a pretty nice distraction from that.
Did they ever put out Horizon DLC?
Oh,
Yeah, right?
sure.
Yeah.
Tons. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It doesn't catch a lot of attention, but it's out there.
No, it's weird with Horizon. It's like the longer it gets into its lifespan, the more and more people seem to dislike it. When it first came out, it was like the talk of the town, and slowly but surely, opinions started to shift on it, I think.
Well, hopefully the Forza franchise brings it back with motorsport in
Yeah.
scarcely 2 weeks.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's coming up.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if it's still doing this, but at least a couple of weeks ago, after more Forza Motorsport was out there, more gameplay videos, there was all kinds of people trying to micro analyze, this car model, Forza versus GT, or this track, which one looks better, and
Yeah.
all the angry fan people going,
Fuck off.
yeah, Gran Turismo, it's the best ever. Or Forza definitely looks better. It's like, no, neither of them definitely anything. At this
Right.
point, you've not played them both.
I'll say one thing though that GT7 will undoubtedly have over the new motorsport is VR.
Yeah.
'Cause that shit
Absolutely.
absolutely rocks on the
Yeah.
PSVR 2.
Yeah, VR and the cafe.
Yeah,
Don't forget the cafe.
yeah.
James, what have you been playing?
Well, I blew through the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, the first part of the DLC. That was all right. Um, I it just sort of reminds you of the good and bad things of the base game. Like the it was cool because you have a sort of like smaller, more self-contained region that you're exploring, and so it feels more manageable, more approachable. Um, I think the item density shoots right up for some reason. I don't know what the fuck they did. They just made some sort of adjustment. They're like, people need more items. They're like, did we? Did we need more? I don't know, man, because like I would just get so distracted. But like I have shit to do, quest stuff or whatever, so I can blow through this DLC. But instead, I'm just like doing slow loops around this map, or like picking up Stardust and Pokeballs and like other weird items like that, and getting like 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 every minute or so, just like grabbing those. And because it's like a new region, you've got its own separate kind of Pokedex to fill out, and between the items and the capturing shit, I was just like constantly low level stimulated. It was very like it had this very Skinner box type loop that they've like really fucking perfected, where it's just, oh, you're gonna be busy. You're gonna spend this 6 to 10 hours just like fucking grinding away like crazy. You're not even gonna notice it go by. Um, and there's like little bonuses for like however much of the Pokedex you fill out, which I think they might have introduced that for the main decks as well. Um, the outfit selection is still not great, which is a big sticking point for me for all Pokemon games and indeed all open world RPGs in general. If you have character customization that's really good, I will enjoy your game more, bar none. And this one, not so great, so not so good. It still runs pretty stuttery. Um, there was like 1 or 2 points where I would like, I think twice it happened where I would like turn to the right really fast in some like dense area, and it was just like, and then would have finished the turn. But I was like, oh fuck, okay. But for the most part, the frame rate just sucks. Like it's just lower than you would like. So if you're one of those people who's like, it's got to be 60 or I'll get physically ill, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet are not for you. But I don't give a fuck about frame rate. I've learned. I've learned by playing this game where I'm just like, hey, it turns out it doesn't really matter to me if it's hovering around 25 or 26 or like sub 30 in general. Like I don't care. Cuz like they've it seems like the major fixes are like they'll introduce like quests and mini games and stuff like that, but what they've been doing for the last couple of games is perfecting that gameplay loop where they're like, all right, we want when people are out in the field, we want them to be constantly fucking stimulated. We want the process of capturing and fighting to be as smooth as possible. We want like the whole like because there's no like, oh, we got to load and get into a battle. It's just like the fight starts and then you're just like sitting there in the spot where you were previously. There's no like separate battle area that loads up or anything. So like everything they've been doing mechanically with the Pokemon games for the last year or so has been make that loop as smooth as possible. Sort of, it seems like at the expense of a lot of other systems. So like it doesn't run perfectly, and people are like, "Oh, maybe it'll run better with the Switch too." No, it won't. But it's sweet that you think so. But they're very focused on that loop and making sure that it's as like smooth and satisfying and it cycles over as quickly as possible. And I really fucking appreciate that because I have a very short attention span. So when a game caters to me specifically like that, I really fucking appreciate it.
Cool. The video of this I pulled up that we're currently watching is entitled Scarlet and Violet DLC, the Teal Mask full game walkthrough, and it is 3 hours and 18 minutes long.
Yeah, fucked around and took 6, but like
It's pretty short.
doesn't have to. It generally, I've noticed that when they do 2-part DLCs like this, the first part is always the skimpier one. Because I think the second part, you're going to a completely different school with some characters that you're introduced to in the first part. And I love them both. They're wonderful. They're great. Everybody that they've introduced in the new DLC has been awesome. That includes people and Pokemon. And I am personally really looking forward to seeing what part 2 has to offer in terms of like story and cool shit. I'm not going to get my hopes up for the ability to customize characters because they made this like decision for Scarlet and Violet where because you're students, you have to have a uniform on at all times. And I'm like, no, you don't. This is dumb. Stop making me do this. I want to dress in wacky bullshit at all times. I want to look like there was a closet explosion and I was the only survivor all the time. And anytime they don't let me do that, I get real pissy about it. So yeah, that's a little insight into what the games that James likes best are the ones where he can change his outfit maybe every 11 minutes if he feels the need.
You know what game did that right? And while still saying somewhat thematic was Hogwarts Legacy, which I was reminded the other day came out this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa.
It's a crowded field of contenders for the top 10.
Yeah.
And like arguably 3 or 4 more contenders in October.
Yep.
Yeah. It's great.
Easily.
I'm fucking jazzed, man.
It's gonna be a big battle. Bring your knives to the fight later this year. Viewers, bring your knives too, but just be safe. Hold them by the handle. Don't poke anybody.
God, it's been so many years since I last owned a gas station knife or a mall knife. You know what I'm talking about? The kind that have like the wacky, insane handle and the blade is about as sharp as a butter knife. I miss having those in my life, man. Those were great.
James, were you ever a knife spinner?
No, I don't have the coordination for that, but I like that you want that for me. I think that's great.
I think it would just be such a rad mixture of things. It'd be so unexpected, and thus way cooler.
Yeah, if the knife handle has crazy loops that they built into it, because again, that was the style at the time when I was a young man. You would buy these things from like some white dude in a tank top who it was just like crazy ornate handle, shitty blade. And you're just like, you could like just like, you could just sort of fuck around with it. You drop it yourself. Oop, it's fine because it's dull as dishwater. You literally can't cut people with it. But they were great. I feel like I want one of those in my life again. I don't know.
Gonna need updates on that. Gonna need updates.
Yeah, I promise. If I pull the trigger on a fucking sick mall knife, you guys will absolutely hear about it.
Okay, good. What else?
I also played Baten Kaitos 1 and 2. It's a remastered HD collection for the Switch. There are a couple of old weird GameCube RPGs. Upsides, cool shit. Combat is all card based, and I mean all of the combat is card based. So your ability to escape, the different strengths of like regular attack you do, your ability to use items for healing and offense, your any other utilitarian shit you can do, any spells you can cast, all of it is all card based. So you build like a deck of like 20 to 40 or more cards, depending on how far in the game you are, for each character you play with, and you have to like every turn you're like, okay, here's the 5 cards I've got, and let's hope I can fucking do something cool. It's not completely random because whatever you don't use right that turn stays in your hands. You're just like whatever you burn as you like pile through the fucking deck, you hold on to the shit you don't use. So you can kind of strategize, and it makes battles very interesting, but they move really slow. So the HD remaster has, that high speed thing, but
Mhm.
the downside of that is that turns have a time limit for you to choose cards before it's just like, oh, you're done. All right, we're moving on. And if you turn the battle speed up to like 3x or whatever, you have to have lightning reflexes to fucking do that shit.
That sounds
So it's
weirdly
real.
entertaining.
Yeah, it's a real devil's bargain. It's fun, right? It's a fun, weird game. Got those cool static backgrounds that you have like the polygonal characters, 3D character models with like 2D static backgrounds with some basic animation mixed into them. And and it all looks great and it's nice and crisp. It looks good. The story is some cookie cutter bullshit, but mechanically it's really fun. So I've got, no real complaints. If you miss those games and you're a big fan of old weird RPGs, fuck yeah, get it in where it fit in. Otherwise, I don't know, man, they're fine.
Yeah, these feel like the kind of thing that you have to have some sort of nostalgia for them to really want to dig your teeth back into them.
I would think so. I knew people who had these games when I was younger, so I remember them, but it's like second or third hand nostalgia. It's nothing particularly potent.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Looking at this video, there sure is a lot of dialogue with the character standing in one place, kind of doing the idle motion thing.
Yeah, yeah. It's the dialogue pacing is actually not too bad. It hums along decently for a game of this age. It's just the story beats are unbelievably predictable. Where I was just like, oh, this is kind of cool, and then a couple of things happen. I was like, oh no, I know this story. I know what's happening. Fuck, man. They got to the point where it was like they were introduced to some neutral third party, like another kingdom, because they're on the run from an empire, right? Like an empire is fucking around and giving them grief. And then they go to the like third country and it's like, we don't want to take a stand. And it's like, fuck off. Really? Really? Come on. After that point, it was just like, okay, no, I know this beat and this beat and this beat, and all the scales fell from my eyes, and I knew exactly what was happening. It was just like, really took the wind out of my fucking sails. But the battles are great. Doing it with cards is cool. Keeps you on your toes. Every battle is interesting, you know. And you have to like customize the card decks. That's cool. And you're constantly getting new ones. And when you level up, you have to like go to like this church that's accessible from certain save points, and the guy's like, pray here, and you're like, all right, sick, and then you pray and then your level goes up. If you've accumulated enough experience.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, I don't know that it makes sense that you got to pray to raise your level. You know, what kind of
No.
hero goes on adventures, gets all kinds of experiences while doing the adventures, and then can't do anything better without praying?
I will step in and say that historically, on a grand time scale, most of the heroes through most of history up until pretty fucking recently, they had to make some church pit stops at a semi-regular basis.
Pilgrimages, yes.
Yeah. Pilgrimages and quests for God and country and crusades. Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. It used to be pretty normal.
You're right. Tale as old as time, really.
Yeah, pretty much. I have to go rescue my cat. She is stuck inside the recording room and not super happy about it.
And now we can say all the things we've always wanted to say about James.
Oh my god.
What a chump, hey?
Yeah, totally.
What an absolute chump. Been waiting for this. Now's our time to shine. Quick, get it in while you can.
Chump. Yeah, big old
Oh,
chump.
man.
Yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, James.
Yeah, their one cat was on each side of the door, and they were trying to like get after each other, and it was just like, no, I gotta facilitate this. They fight a lot.
We definitely didn't spend that 9 seconds talking bad about your
No.
name. You know,
Yeah.
disparaging remarks.
Extremely reassuring.
What?
Yeah,
I,
so
I said
Baten
definitely did
Kaitos,
not.
yeah. Well, God, your word is your bond. I'm not.
Yeah.
What else? What else do we need?
Yeah, my name is my name.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good thing there's no record of this happening.
yeah,
Permanent.
not at all.
Permanent or otherwise.
Yeah,
Anyway, Baten Kaitos.
yeah.
Solid 7?
So, like the Scarlet and Violet DLC, yeah, I had a really solid 7 couple of weeks, except for Sea of Stars, which strictly 9.5 territory.
I feel like the Press X to podcast scale should be solid 7 in the middle, and there's better than that and worse than that. That's it. That's all you need, really.
Yeah.
People give a lot of shit to 7 out of 10 games, but that's an important part of your media diet. Like, I need something that I can play while I'm like listening to podcasts or watching Monster Factory videos. A lot of those recently. It's essential shit, you know? Maybe you're doing a big rewatch of Venture Brothers and you need something on that second screen, so you need a 7 out of 10 video game. Just, you know?
Maybe you're watching reruns of the Super Mario Super Show.
Hell yeah.
Captain Lou.
With Captain Lou. That's so weird to
Captain-
bring that up. I just saw on YouTube, I was scrolling through my YouTube feed today, and somebody had posted a picture saying, "Hey, did you know that Captain Lou Albano was actually the first live action Mario?" What a coincidence.
Yeah. I guess if you're young enough, that's new information, but
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing watching all those younger generations come across the same realizations at the same point in their lives, just in different context. Really enjoying that process. Especially when people discover, the circle game.
The circle game.
yeah.
Well, where you punch them in the arm?
Yep. That's the one.
Nice. That's good stuff. That's
It
good
is.
stuff.
It is.
It's an essential part of a person's development is learning those crucial few rules and adjusting the parameters of your life accordingly.
Yeah.
It's got a little bit of Captain Lou on the video here.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
Nice.
That's fucking classic. And who's this that plays Luigi?
It's a great question. Wow, who's that?
Yeah. His name does not spring as readily to my lips.
No.
I'll be honest.
The other guy.
Lost again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The synopsis below the video. When Birdo mistakes Toad for her missing baby and kidnaps him, Mario, Luigi, and Princess Toadstool must rescue him.
Nice.
I bet this show still rips.
I bet it's possible to watch. Yeah, that's where I'm gonna land with my evaluation.
Solid 7.
Yeah. Oh, like
Anyway.
yeah. 7 feels generous.
Well, I don't want to say too much. I haven't watched it in like 30 years. So,
Yeah.
Rhett, what else have you been playing? I thought there was something else you mentioned.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk.
Oh, yeah.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, so I can't talk about Phantom Liberty though because every time I tried to start it, it crashed. So obviously the game is still in a great state.
Fucking sweet.
What are you playing it on?
PS5.
Okay.
So yeah, trying to start the game with the DLC installed, it would crash. Now, I did test it today because today's launch day for it, and it seems to have been fixed. So I'm going to have to dive into Phantom Liberty going forward. With that being said, I've put about 15, 16 hours into the base game now with the 2.0 update. Now, that's one thing that I didn't really realize was happening was that there's Phantom Liberty and there's the 2.0 update. They sort of go hand in hand, but you can certainly use the 2.0 update. That's free for everybody without getting the Phantom Liberty DLC. The 2.0 update's the thing that has all the Like the long list of bug fixes on top of like the new skill trees, et cetera, et cetera. Still a lot of issues with the game though. There's still a lot of issues with the game. Now I didn't play it when it first launched, so I don't have anything to compare it to, but you'll still routinely see like NPCs walking through cars. There was this really weird visual bug that happened when I was in a car talking to a character, and all of a sudden the entire screen went black. And I thought that the game had crashed. But it fixed itself after I started to move my camera around. And let's say so the screen's black and I would move my camera to the left and it would like cut out this chunk of the screen as I moved the camera, and then I would move it up and it would cut out this chunk of the screen in the direction that I would move the camera. And eventually when I like covered enough of the screen and cut out enough of the black screen, yeah, it just like popped back in. I don't think I've ever seen that visual glitch in a game before, but
Dude, that's a mini game.
It's a mini game, yeah. But with that being said, like there's certainly not been anything that's broken the game. I've been having a decent time with it. I definitely stand by the fact that the shooting mechanics feel pretty good on the PS5 with the haptic feedback. Each gun feels pretty satisfying. Pretty satisfying. And Night City's fucking sweet though. That if there's one thing they got right, Night City's fucking sweet. It's super dense, super detailed. Every single place, every single building, room that I go into, I just want to fucking scour every corner, every inch of them. To the point where like there's been plenty of times where I've gone into a building and I'll go up a flight, through a hallway, up another flight of stairs, etc. And I won't be able to get back out because I've got lost. There's just like there's a lot to see.
That's cool.
There's a lot there to see.
I think they've definitely done quite a bit of work on that, because I initially reviewing it, obviously the game was in a piece of shit state.
Yeah.
Generally, but it really felt like the city looked great and it was a nice facade, but it felt like everything was a cardboard cutout. Like,
Right.
And if you peeked behind it, there wouldn't be anything there. But I think that's one of the things they have done quite a bit of work on, is making it feel a little more lived in, a little more like if you leave the critical path, there's still stuff to find and do other than
Tons of stuff.
Other than, just like you get a call on your phone and you're in this new borough. I'm the crime lord of this borough. Come talk to me.
Yeah. No, there's tons of stuff to do. Like you said, going off the beaten path will certainly yield results at this point.
Cool.
Yeah, I really want to do another run of Cyberpunk. I want to get the fucking expansion. I want to get in there and cause when I played, my full playthrough was version 1.3, which was like light years away from the release version. And I still had like a really good time, and I'm like really curious to see what they've changed and fucked with. And I know there's like 5 or 6 serious endings you can get to, and I'm like, I really want to see what happens when I try to go for something cooler and different. When I try to like do something a little different with my life, right? And
Yep. 100%.
yeah,
100%. Now's the best time to play it.
yeah.
Absolutely, now's the best time to start up a new playthrough. Especially since they encourage you that if you're going to play with 2.0, if you're going to play Phantom Liberty, they encourage you to start a new game. So, yeah, you should definitely do it.
I might as well.
Banged a prostitute last night, and that was great. Great sex scenes. Tremendous sex scenes.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I remember them being
all kinds of positions, music. It's great.
Yeah, I didn't really get into the meat of that. I think I did definitely fuck at least one prostitute in my original run, but I don't remember like really doing. It was like it just sort of happened. I was like, oh okay, sex scene, that's fine.
They must have upgraded them then, because I thought it was great. I thought it was well worth the. I think it was only like 500 eddies, something like that. Well worth it. Well worth it.
Nice. Okay. Yeah. Nice. All right. Sick.
But like, I'd really love for you to play it so I can get your feedback on like the new skill trees and stuff like that, because I really have nothing to compare it to. So I'd love
They
to hear what you
were
think about the new skills and how the skill trees work now, etc.
on release. They were bad. Or that was one of the things that was most unfinished
Oh
in the
man,
game.
there's few things in a game that will get me to turn it off more than a bad skill tree. A bad skill tree with uninteresting upgrades just kills every game for me.
Yeah, because I mean, it's a critical part of any RPG. You got to feel like you're doing something,
Yeah.
and that was one of the things, at least I said in the original review, is that it felt like it it didn't want me to go into the skill trees. It didn't want me to become a net runner. It
Right.
wanted me to take the path of least resistance and
Right.
shoot people.
Well,
And
that certainly doesn't feel like the case now.
that's good.
I'm always in my menu. I'm always looking at new augments. And by the way, I don't know how many augments there were before, but there are a ton of augmentations you can add to your character now.
Couldn't tell you.
And most of them seem pretty cool, you know. Um,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
Paul. Paul, what did you score the game? I think you gave it a 4,
Good.
40,
Maybe a 3.5,
3.5. So
something
I
like
would
that.
very much be curious to see what your thoughts on the
Yeah.
new update are.
Hmm.
It sounds like they've at least corrected a significant chunk of the issues that you had with it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the game was not finished.
No,
They're calling this
no.
patch 2.0, but this is the game that should have been released. Probably.
That should have been released, right? Yeah, yeah.
No,
But and I guess they announced that this is basically going to be it for like the big updates. Phantom Liberty. There won't be any more DLC like that afterwards. But I would imagine that they'll still patch things here and there because yeah, by no means will you be playing it and have a bug-free experience.
that makes sense.
Wouldn't really feel like Cyberpunk otherwise.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's another thing that bugs me about Starfield. I don't know if this is true or not, but it feels like Bethesda has left things in a state, in places, because they know a modder will fix it.
Mm.
Example, maps. They're useless, especially in a city. It's like a topo map that has, some icons here and there. It's completely useless for navigation. Somebody's already put together a map. So, you hate to think that that's something that development studio would do. But
That makes perfect sense though.
yeah, if there's a ton of stuff you have to do and you're like, well, this is something that a subset is going to want enough that someone's going to mod it in. And
Mhm.
Bethesda does do a very good job of supporting modders with Creation Kit, things like that. So,
But watch, that's why they do such a good job. That's why they've been doing this since Fallout 4, I guess, when they've started to work closely with modders.
mhm.
Watch, this is the nefarious reason behind all of that, just so that they can now go forward and build their games with the intention of just using fucking mods to fix them.
I was looking at the mods, and as you might expect, a lot of them are pretty horny.
Oh,
Uh,
naturally.
I think one of the first mods that came out was one that makes Sarah's butt rounder.
Thought router?
It's-
That sounds nice. I'd probably install that. I don't know who
There's
Sarah is, but
there's one that you can get that like because starships can only be 40 meters in length, I think. And they were like, no, we're fixing that. So they put in a mod that removes that cap so you can have like unrestricted shipbuilding, which is how people have made Star Destroyers.
nice.
Yeah.
Imagine the ladder hell inside of that thing trying to get to the
Oh,
bridge.
God.
Shit.
Yeah, that's why there's that button. That's why when you board a ship in Starfield and you get on, you're like, do you want to board? Do you want to go to the cockpit? And you're like, cockpit, please.
Like, I have no idea how to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
Anyway, that's awesome if Cyberpunk is finally in a state that it's it's compelling.
Yeah.
Especially because it sounds like Phantom Liberty is pretty rad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have loved to have played it.
It really sucks that there's so much good shit coming out this month, because really what I want to do is just like take a couple of weeks and just play Cyberpunk again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What stuff from October are we most looking forward to?
4 things.
Okay.
Spider-Man,
Yep.
Assassin's Creed,
Yep.
Alan Wake 2,
Mm-hmm.
and the Metal Gear Solid Legacy Collection Volume 1. But that might be more of a personal,
Yeah, I
Well,
don't
hey,
think you can leave Super Mario Wonder off.
Well, that's
Super
on my
Mario 1,
list.
of course. Yeah, I agree. So,
5,
yeah.
maybe 6 if you count Forza.
Forza, NHL 24, of course.
Jesus Christ.
You better
Yeah.
absolutely bury that game this year, Red.
Boom. I was looking at my review from last year. I gave it a fucking 5.9. I said my subheader for it was NHL 24 review, torn Achilles. That shit was brutal. So, I mean, it's gonna have to be pretty bad to do worse than it did last year.
Well, the game's not going to be better.
No.
And the rest of the industry continues to move forward. So, by definition, it's objectively worse if it's the same game this year.
It's interesting, though, because I was just looking at the scores for NBA 2K24, and that shit is getting absolutely annihilated. And why? Because it seems like every year, the on-court action may get a little bit better, but the fucking microtransactions are getting worse and worse, to the point now where people are saying it's like, this should be illegal, what they're doing with it.
There have in fact been court cases about that specific thing.
It's gotten to the point now where you cannot compete online unless you're willing to spend money, and a lot of it. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately people got to vote with their wallet.
It's true.
You can't buy NBA 2K24 and pay all that money to play online and then expect them to change. It'll be the same next year unless revenue goes down.
Yep. It's a good point.
So it's a real bummer, though.
Yeah.
Madden's not doing well. Fucking... Yeah. We'll see how this new version of FIFA is, since it's no longer FIFA. I wonder if EA is going to do anything drastic with the series.
It's really interesting hearing you guys bitch about these sports games, because you see these video essays online where it's like, video games are dying, the industry is doing worse than ever, and it's because these guys making these videos are the ones who play these perennial releases. You get these people who are like, the games that I used to buy every year like clockwork that just kept getting better, now they keep getting worse. And so my world of video games is collapsing around me. Meanwhile, 2023 shaping up to be like maybe the best year in a fucking decade or more like tight, beautiful single player experiences and even like fascinating multiplayer experiments and shit like that. Like, it's just been like an absolutely fucking banner year. So when you see these people being like, video games are dying, you're like, what, really?
Mm-hmm.
No, they aren't.
I think because there are less and less couch co-op experiences. And I think a lot of people associate video games, especially from their childhood. I'm sure most people associate their best memories of video games with couch co-op.
I think
it's just not a thing anymore.
I think a lot of these people are like, if they play COD every year, all year, right? And they're just like, video games are dying. I'm like, you should play a second one.
Yeah.
And then get back to me about the state of the industry.
100%. Get off that Call of Duty island
that
you've been living on.
Yeah. Extract.
Yeah. Extract. Because like you said, James, I think no question, but at the end of the year when we're doing our top 10 list, we're going to be saying that this was the best year maybe in the past decade for gaming.
If not ever.
Mm-hmm.
Because it might be.
Yeah.
But to your point about couch co-op, that's exactly why It Takes Two won Game of the Year at the Game Awards a couple years ago.
Oh yeah.
Is that objectively the best game of that year? No, but
It was.
people loved it. It was super charming and fun because you got to play with a friend, whether that was actually on a couch or on a virtual couch, with the share the game thing that they had going.
My friend Zach and I, who's in the chat right now,
What up,
we
Zach?
played It Takes Two on stream. We did a full playthrough of it, and it seemed like every hour we were saying to ourselves, this game is way, way more impressive than we were expecting. It's really, really fucking good. It's crazy how like they're constantly changing up the mechanics and throwing new stuff at you in clever ways that make you think, but they would never really like drive you crazy, you know? They really hit that perfect balance between difficulty and fun. And yeah, like Zach says, it's such a unique experience. Absolutely. I really can't recall playing anything like that.
Yeah,
A really touching story too.
Yeah, I had issues with the story. Like, the arc of the story is good. I found the moment to moment a little bit jarring, where it'd be like, they just made this great breakthrough, and maybe they're getting closer together, and then immediately in the next section, she's telling them to fuck off.
Well, I mean, they're about to get a s'mores.
Yeah, but
S'mores.
But
they were about to s'mores.
You got to take the little steps to get to that end point where it's like, ooh, maybe they'll get back together.
Well, they took little steps.
They did, but they're still snipping each other the entire time.
Well, I mean, you're not gonna want to s'mores and not be snippety at each other.
I guess they did get turned into dolls.
Turn into dolls.
That's a good point.
Had to watch their kid crying.
Yeah.
All day
Well,
and night.
The kid needs to toughen up, but
the kid did need to toughen up.
The parents, they were willing to make the sacrifice. They were going to throw that elephant right off the dresser. That scene was crushing, by the way.
Dude, shocking. Fucking shocking.
Also, that game, great because the two characters are so different. You could absolutely play it a second time and have a completely different experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I appreciated how if you played the game online, they still hit you with the double screen thing.
Yeah.
So if you only wanted to play it just the one time, you could still feel like you saw everything, you know?
Because so much about it is collaboration and, helping your buddy out.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, all of my hotly anticipated October games, most of the things that I'm like, oh, I can't wait to play that. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody gives a shit about my list.
Well, let's hear it.
Well, yeah, what is your list?
Well, Mario Wonder for sure. Spider-Man will be cool, but it's one of those Spider-Man's one of those games where I'm like, I don't care about it when it's coming out, but when I play it, I love it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It was with that and with Miles Morales. I was like, I don't feel any particular hyper anticipation regarding this game, but as soon as I plug it in, I'm like, oh fuck yeah, this rules. All right, man. So like I put it on the list because I know objectively that it should be there, but I don't feel that anticipation. But Mario Wonder looks trippy as shit. Just a lot of it's like a lot of weirdly like psychedelic stuff, which is like not what you normally expect from a Mario game. Disgaea, which I'm probably reviewing, is another one of those games where it's like I don't think about it when it's not around, but when I plug it in, I'll probably put like 100 solid hours into it, just because they're really good at like manufacturing complex mechanical systems that break the boundaries that they themselves previously established. Because originally in this series, it was just like, we're going to change up what strategy RPGs are all about. And then now it's just like, it's like the RPG equivalent of the Fast and Furious franchise. They're like, well, we just have to do bigger than we did the last game. which in this case is literally, I think there's a mechanic where you can turn a character Godzilla size and just have him stomp all over the map.
Yeah, jumbification. I just saw.
Yeah,
That's what they're calling this.
yeah. So like, it's one of those. It's again, I'm not hotly anticipating it. I'm gonna play the fuck out of it when it comes out. That Sonic Superstars game. Turns out, I'm a pretty big Sonic fan. I've discovered about myself in the last few years. I love a lot of his games. Not Sonic Adventure or Sonic 06 or Sonic Unleashed.
I didn't even know there was a new Sonic game coming out next month.
And it's a 2D Sonic game?
Yes.
Gosh.
2D gameplay with 3D graphics. It's got like that simultaneous co-op where you can have like 2 to 4 people on the screen at once, like collectively going through the level at the same time, like the Mario games.
That could be fun.
Right? It's just like
Yeah.
it's not like a huge tentpole release, but like it looks really fun, man.
Yeah.
It
And,
looks at least relatively fast.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, like Sonic likes going fast.
Sonic does like what else?
This actually looks pretty sweet.
It does.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Yeah. So like Sonic and Mario and Spider-Man.
Is that is that on the Switch?
Yes. I think that will be coming to the Switch. But like all the other platforms as well. It's going to be
Okay.
all over the place.
Gotcha.
And I definitely want to play the new Forza game when it comes out at least. Like
Mhm.
I've never thought of myself as a racing guy, but I really loved Horizon 4 and 5. They were so much fun.
Well,
So
I mean,
I know it's a different thing. It's a different animal. I know they're not the same at all.
it really is.
But
It really is.
But I have to try. I have to try. You know?
I'd be curious to see. I'd be curious to see you play.
Yeah, like
do you like track racing?
I don't know.
Right. Well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, right? Like it's just
love
like
it.
it's one of those things where I'm like, I'm extremely curious.
Yeah.
I'm gonna download it. I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And maybe it'll be like just entirely too much for me. Maybe I'll approach it like Dark Souls, where I just like practice over and over again until I'm like good in some way. And like,
Yeah, that's really what it's all about. Doing the same corner over and over
Yeah.
and over again
But
until you get your driving line down perfect.
yeah, Forza Motorsport has always had a lot of the same driving assist, driving dynamic changes. You know, all the sliders like Horizon does to make it
Sure.
super arcadey. If you really want to,
If you
can
want
do
it
that.
to, but it's
sick.
well, I don't know though. It's I mean, all driving games really. I suppose you could make them feel arcadey, but I would be shocked if you could get Motorsport to feel just like Horizon.
Well,
No, not just like
I
it.
hope it doesn't. Yeah, I hope it's a very different experience. But
Yeah.
yeah, so I do definitely have at least 4 games, the like pretty big ones. Alan Wake, I missed the first one, and like so
Oh,
it's like
man.
it's just out of my, you know what I mean? Like it's just
That is probably my most anticipated game of the entire year. I've been waiting 15 years for that game now,
nice. Okay.
and I can't
Sick.
fucking wait. It
All
looks
right.
so good.
I'm super glad that it's going a more horror route.
Yeah,
It's
it does. It looks freaky.
and you know, I think they went this route because I don't know if you've played the original Alan Wake in the last 10 years, but it does not hold up very well. Like that gameplay.
I reviewed the remaster
Mhm.
or the yeah, it was a remaster. Yeah, I reviewed it. I guess it was a couple years ago now. And
Yeah.
you're right. You're right. It definitely feels dated. But the story still holds up.
Absolutely.
Right? The atmosphere is still there.
Yeah, Remedy always slays on the story front. So
Yeah.
taking that universe, that story, that next step, and doing more of a almost an RE remake kind of thing, I think
Mhm.
that's going to work really well.
Yeah.
And it's going to go down a treat in October.
Yeah.
On spooky season, you know?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else that we're missing that's coming out this month? It feels like a fucking crazy dense month for video game releases.
Well, that list that we were given
Holy
for
moly.
reviews, it felt like it was fucking 3 pages long.
Yeah. I'm real curious about Assassin's Creed.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I keep forgetting that's coming out.
Because it looks great.
I was disgusted to find out the other day that it's not multiplayer. I thought the whole point of it was that it was going to be a multiplayer game. And I was absolutely stunned
What gave you
to
that
find out
idea
that it's
though?
not.
I think they're developing a couple of Assassin's Creed projects, right?
Yeah.
Because
Are
there's
they?
Assassin's Creed Mirage. Yeah, the Mirage is the return to form, and they've been talking about something called Infinite, which I think is like
Oh,
the last multiplayer Assassin's Creed game they're ever gonna make, right? You know,
Right.
like we got this one, we're never making another one. You know, sort
I
of like
probably got the two
Fortnite or
confused.
yeah. No, that's probably what happened. Sort of
Sickened.
like how Grand Theft
Sickened.
Auto Online never needs a sequel because they fucking
Oh God, yeah. But I thought that that this was going to be multiplayer, and I was so stoked for it because I really thought that Unity was the last good Assassin's Creed game, because it was multiplayer. It was sweet getting in there with a few people and running around, plotting out assassinations.
Mhm.
You know, and now I can't do that. So, still gonna play it. Still hyped for it, but pretty sour that I can't link up with anybody and do this.
Mm.
This Assassin's got the Altair thing going on though, hey? It
Yeah.
really gave him like an Altair kind of feel.
Yeah, like what just happened there? He threw down a smoke bomb and the people were disoriented. He stabbed them both in the gut and he's walking away. That's
Classic,
Assassin's Creed,
right?
not the bullet sponge nonsense that they've been
Oh,
doing for the last 5 years or whatever.
there's been several times where, with Valhalla especially, where I've been like, you know what? I think I'm actually gonna get this game. I'm gonna try it. I want to try it, and then I'll be like, maybe I should just go watch a quick YouTube video and just see how it actually plays. And 3 minutes later, after watching the combat, I'm like, this is not anything I want to get involved with. This is not Assassin's Creed,
Yeah.
you know? Ubisoft completely castrated the series over the past 3 entries.
yeah.
I'm desperately hoping that this is the start of the Ubisoft renaissance. They're coming back. Mirage is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
The Avatar themed Far Cry game is going to be awesome.
Well, you can pet kitties in this one? Excellent. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's way better than the 7 already.
Right.
And that's that Star Wars game, the Smuggler game.
Oh,
that
yeah.
looks awesome too.
That's not out next month, is it?
No.
That's a ways off, yeah.
Yeah. That does remind me though, I need to go back and finally play through Jedi Survivor now that they've fixed it.
They did?
Yep.
What did they do?
They patched everything so it now runs better.
Nice.
Yeah. It's actually functional on a PC, so that's good.
Nice.
As I figured that, it's probably in that same game of the year conversation. Somewhere.
I'm looking through the list of things that are coming out next month that people may be interested in. Detective Pikachu.
Oh yeah.
I think those
Keep
games do
forgetting
pretty
about that one.
well. All right.
That's another one that I am probably playing
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
for review or something. It'll come up in my feed and because I've never played the first one, so I looked up. I'm like, okay, what's the first game all about? That story is insane. It's insane. It goes all over the place. They're like manufacturing drugs out of Mewtwo's DNA, and there's like, and they're like trying to find your missing father, but you keep getting sidetracked with this like crazy drug ring thing, and there's like
Wow.
people keep being like, "Oh, it turns out I was the bad guy all along." It's like, no, it was me. Ha ha ha! Like, Jesus, okay.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, no, it's a crazy story.
So it's like Pokemon meets Professor Layton meets Ace Attorney.
Yeah, and I think the second game is picking up that same story where you're like searching for your missing father. And I really appreciate who they got the English voice actor for Pikachu for these games. He has like this deep, rich baritone. You're like,
Oh,
okay.
it's not Ryan Reynolds?
No, no, it's so good though. It
Fuck.
just talks about how much he loves coffee and like solving mysteries and shit. He's a delight.
SpongeBob SquarePants: The Cosmic Shake, which Paul, we're gonna have to play that.
That last multiplayer game was fire.
Absolute flames. Absolute flames.
Okay, wait, what's it called? Cosmic Shake?
Cosmic Shake. Yeah. PS5, Xbox. Yeah, I got really nothing to say about this.
Somebody's already got a full gameplay walkthrough.
And what is it? 5 hours long?
510.
Yeah, that's
That is one
That's
sharp
SpongeBob.
looking SpongeBob though.
Yeah, he looks all right.
Hmm.
Uh,
This baby on Game Pass or?
I mean, it is coming to the Xbox. Might be. There is though the sequel to that Hot Wheels racing game coming out next month, and that one actually
Right.
did pretty well.
Yeah, that was like
the original.
surprisingly good, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, did any of you, either of you, touch Liza P?
I played the
No,
demo. Played the demo when it
It-
released on Steam.
I saw it on Game Pass and I considered it, but I'm like hip deep in other very big Game Pass games right now, so I'm gonna have to circle back around. I hear it's like the best Souls-like that's ever been made, basically.
I don't know. Well, again, I only played the demo, but I don't know if I would say it's better than Elden Ring.
No, Souls-like. So like as far as the Kirkland brand imitations of Soulsborne games, this is the best one.
I got you.
It absolutely cannot hold a candle to the OG.
Right.
Yeah, I watched somebody streaming some of it, and it is shameless in its ripoff of Bloodborne.
Yeah. Yeah, if you didn't know better, you would never know that a different developer made it.
Yeah, right down to the breathy NPCs talking through windows.
Mm-hmm.
God damn.
Yeah.
It's pretty bold.
Paul, here's one that you might be interested in. Cities Skylines 2.
Oh,
next month.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. That's gonna be a bop. It's gonna be a jam.
Yep.
Um,
You've said that City Skylines is the best city builder, world builder game there is, right?
hands down.
Yep.
Not close. And from what I've seen of 2, let me just go away from video because we're not talking about Liza P. From what I've seen of this one, it adds a lot more depth to systems. So to take something like power, for example, you don't just put down a power plant and you're good. There's additional like subsystems to that. Like you got to think about what goes on at night, what goes on in the winter. Do I need substations to make, transform the power from power plant power to residential power, things like that.
Mhm.
So I think it's for people that like to role play themselves as an actual city planner and plan something that actually works. I think it's going to be good.
Sure.
Remains to be seen how good it'll be for casual play, though.
Yeah, that sounds like intimidating.
Oh yeah,
Think
but
you might review that one?
maybe.
Yeah.
Could be in the cards. But the first game started out pretty bare bones, and it's a Paradox game. They've since added like 95 DLCs, so that's probably something people are going to have to contend with this one, is that a lot of things will not be there that they're potentially used to from the first game.
Right.
So we'll see how they handle that.
All right.
There's a new Lord of the Rings game coming out next month.
Yeah, I saw that. What's that all about?
Return to Moria?
Hell yeah.
PS5,
Return to
PC.
Moria. Okay, Return to Moria. It's like the digging game with the dwarves.
I have no
Is
idea
it-
what this one is.
It's a survival crafting
crafting
video game.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that
you know
rips.
that classic genre.
It is. It's getting to be one.
Yeah, if this is like DayZ with dwarves, that's all right.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
It does sound pretty good. Okay. Looking at the gameplay.
What? Oh yeah. Okay.
He's
Yeah.
digging.
No idea this was the thing. I'll pretty much guarantee that it'll be better than that piece of shit.
Gollum?
What was it called? Yeah, Gollum. Yeah. Oh, pretty much guaranteed it's gonna be better than that.
Yeah, that. Oh my god.
Yeah.
In the
Zach,
running for
he
worst
got
game
it.
of the year.
Lord of
Easily.
the Rings themed Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah, I'm looking at some gameplay. You got some people like sort of skulking around the mines, picking up resources, tapping away at rocks and extracting ore. It seems like a good. Oh, there's a button to start singing. That's fun.
Oh, I do love that. I do love
There's a
that.
dedicated hotkey for your dwarven mining songs.
I mean, I would assume that this is multiplayer. Could
Oh
be fun
hell
to
yeah!
get in
No,
there, right?
this is co-op for sure.
Could be fun to get in there with a group of people and see what this is all about.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I find mining gameplay very compelling for whatever reason.
Yeah.
Well, it
doesn't matter if you're like actually tapping on the rocks to break them apart or you're scanning things. Love that. It's very peaceful.
Yeah.
Mindless.
It's the tapping of the tool on the rock, you know?
Ding.
Satisfying.
Ding. Yeah. Yeah. The game actually pretty much hinges on how good that tapping noise is.
Definitely. The last big game that I would say is coming out next month that we haven't talked about is UFC 5.
Oh yeah.
It's been a while since the UFC games come out, and UFC 5 is gonna drop. These games have been getting better and better. 3 and 4 were actually pretty good. If you like your combat sports, if you like turning people's faces into hamburger, UFC 5 is probably for you.
Nope.
Nope, definitely not.
Yeah.
I would still love to see them go away from the MMA, get back to boxing. Bring me another fight night.
Well, I mean, I still play Undisputed, which I did the early access like coverage on in January of this year.
Yeah, right.
And that game has been getting better and better with each update. It's fucking phenomenal.
Yeah,
So
I
if
remember
you-
you talking about that, and when I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, this is Fight Night 5.
Yeah, if you're craving a boxing game, by all means, go get that because it's really, really good.
It's still in early access.
Still in early access, but yeah, like the devs have been really good. They've been pretty transparent about what's been going on. Easy to get a hold of, if you have issues with the game or if you want to suggest something or whatever. And yeah, it's shaping up. It's shaping up to be one of the better boxing games probably ever.
Sweet. Well, that's fine. There's not that much going on next month. I'm sure everyone will be sane by the end.
Yeah.
Very clear pictures of what they want to be their game of the year.
I'm seriously considering taking 2 or 3 days off. Just in the middle, just somewhere in the middle there, just to like do, get some gaming time in, just to like catch up,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a couple more tattoos in the middle of October. So somewhere around that region.
Dude, you're an
Well,
animal. You're an animal. You can't be stopped on the
Yes.
tattoo
I
front.
will have 6 tattoos in total by the end of 2023.
So what's
then I have
next?
plans for-
you got the Master Sword in the question block. What's next?
Yeah. Next, I'll probably put a little link right there, just a little link to the past link right there, and then a little floating cat head, pixelated cat head with a floating crown over top, right there, and then And then there's like 1, 2, 3, 4 more that I want to do.
If I
Sometime in
pay,
2024.
if I pay
Mm-hmm.
for you to get Elmer Fudd on your ass with a
Mm.
shotgun pointing to your asshole, saying with a little speech bubble saying, "Come out of that hole, you wangy wabbit," will you get it?
No.
Okay. I
An
just
ass
want to throw that
tattoo.
out there.
It was worth
The
a
An ass
offer's
try.
out there.
tattoo sounds very painful, and
You'll be all right.
I get shit on my arms because people can see it.
Mhm.
Nobody's seen
Yeah.
my ass.
Yeah, but that was just for you, baby. That was just for you.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
I hadn't considered that.
Yeah. That's for you to enjoy.
Just a little a little reminder of something.
Yeah, something important that I can't forget.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So that's the good news, guys. God damn, there's so many games. There's so many fucking games.
Yeah. There's so many games like we can't even talk about the news. Like
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. There's just games. There's good games.
Yeah, the
news
news
is bad, games are good.
The news is more games. Tokyo Game Show happened over the weekend, and it was just like a flurry of announcements. I will say, real quick, Paul, holy fuck. The next Final Fantasy VII game looks
Yes.
so fucking good. So fucking good.
Oh man.
I am bricked up with anticipation for that game, man. I am ready to rock. Holy fuck.
I was always kind of a back in the day we called him Kate Sith, but always a catchy guy. Looks amazing. That game looks absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah. You got your open world, you've got Vincent, you've got the mini games. There's the mini games, the golden saucer. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
Um
And they said,
apparently yeah.
go ahead.
I was just gonna say apparently this game follows them up to the I think it's called the Forbidden Castle or the Forbidden you know the one, the place.
Yeah.
The place, right?
Yeah.
The place, the only one that matters. It goes up to that point, and then presumably the third game will be just pure unmitigated madness with no tether to reality whatsoever. So really looking forward to the second one.
Mm-hmm.
And there's the flashbacks to when Cloud and Sephiroth were like hanging out and fighting together, and he has this line where he says, "You're such a puppy," and it's just like the most fuckable thing that Sephiroth has ever said in a video game ever. And it's just like, feels like there's gonna be a little something here for everybody. Is what I'm saying. It is gonna be a little buffet, a little with a lot of little side dishes, a lot of little meals, little morsels for all the different kinds of people out there in the world.
Yeah, they have said it's a lot more open than that first game too, partly by necessity, but that's good because that's one of the best parts about FF7 is you don't necessarily need to follow that main thread the whole way. It's still relatively linear if you do follow the main thread, but there's lots along the way that you can get your grubby little mitts on. Rhett, you look like you were going to say something.
Have you finished 16?
Not yet, no.
Come
Good.
on, man.
Oh,
I
Get
think
that game done.
I got to mainline it.
You gotta mainline it. Get
Enough.
off the Starfield, bruh.
yeah.
that's a good
Starfield's
point.
just making you angry all the time. You
Yeah.
have to take a break and play something you'll really enjoy.
You're right. I was very much enjoying FF16.
Yeah.
Trying to remember what the last thing that happened was. I got Titan.
Yeah.
Mm.
That fight. Woo!
So fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah. God isn't gonna kill himself. Paul.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's my Paul. That's my second favorite fight in the game, the Titan fight.
Titan, yeah. Titan.
You don't say.
Yeah, you
Oh.
have not gotten to my favorite fight in the game.
So good. So good.
All right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a very good point. Stop being drawn
Yeah.
in by a probably sub 7 game and lean
And
back
play a
towards something
game.
that's definitely better than 7.
Play a game that James gave a perfect score to.
Yeah. My first ever Hondo. Still feel great about that, by the way.
Yep.
Months later, I regret nothing. It's 100%, bitch.
It's still sitting there at my number 1. It's going to be
Yeah.
tough to dethrone that game this year. Maybe it'll be done, but it's going to be tough to dethrone that from the number 1 spot for me.
Oh yeah.
All right. Well, I'll make significant progress on that by the time we come back next time.
Yeah. I will have played a grip of games by the time of our next meeting.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Yeah.
And probably a recommendation that in the future you volunteer for slightly fewer things.
Yeah, that's probably the right move.
Or don't. Just keep doing this
Yeah.
thing.
Just keep going crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does nobody else volunteer for Switch games?
There's some requirements.
Yeah. I've positioned myself in such a way where I am at an advantage when it comes to making Switch game requests.
I would assume you've got to have the OLED.
Yes.
Yeah,
which is
fair
a
enough.
problem I've solved.
Yeah.
So they're big on that.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe we should call it an evening.
Yeah, man.
Call that a podcast. Let's call it a podcast.
That's a podcast, baby.
Red, are you playing something tonight?
I'm playing something tonight. Yeah, Cyberpunk, and we can actually get into the Phantom Liberty DLC.
Sweet.
Yeah, I finished, or no, sorry, I didn't finish. But we've been playing Mafia 3 on stream, but that has taken a backseat to Cyberpunk, especially during this review period. And I finished. At least I got the first ending in Sea of Stars.
Yeah.
Now I was
James and I-
crushing that game for like at least 7 or 8 nights straight, so I had to take a break on it. I was a little Sea of Stars to out, so to speak.
Yeah.
But the true ending will be coming up sooner than later. Yeah, we'll have to go back and finish that off.
Yeah, James and I were talking about that just before the show.
So
We
you
can
both, Paul, I would assume that you got the true ending
Yeah.
because you reviewed it. James, did you finish it all the way?
I just rolled credits on the first ending tonight, like
Okay.
an hour and a half ago.
Which, by the way, the credit sequence is ungodly long. I know that they give you the option to fast forward through them, but holy shit, the list of backers for that game is fucking insane. Holy
Yeah,
fuck.
there's a lot of people who really believed in this game, and they were right to.
Yeah, money well spent for sure.
I don't know if either of you ever went and I forget what it's called, like the Shrine of.
Yeah, I visited that. It's
Yeah.
it's a crypt on the same island where the town you make is, Mirth,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just like an endless field of headstones,
Huge.
one
Yeah,
for
yeah.
every backer.
Yeah.
And you keep walking, and they keep getting bigger and bigger depending on how much was donated,
Right.
to the point where they're absolute god statues. Anyway, we could probably talk
a clever
about that
idea.
if and when we all get the ending. Maybe we can do a little thing on that.
Yeah.
I
All right.
still would love to get some sort of Press X to podcast playthrough going on stream. Got to find some game that is 3-player.
Fuck,
we can do
I
it.
still haven't played fucking Baldur's Gate.
I mean, that's
God
realistically
damn it.
that's the one. Y'all have to play it before we
I
get to
know.
our Game of the Year review.
Oh,
So
it's coming. I had some money trouble specifically regarding tattoos, and now that I've slowed down and how many I'm getting,
yeah. I don't know if I said this last time, but I've been playing it on PS5. I've got about 20 hours into it on PS5 now, and it runs fucking great. So y'all will be good to play it on PS5. I was worried about that coming from the PC version, but no, it's good. Very good.
Sweet.
We need to just generate a few more hours in the day. Someone can get on the science behind that.
Mm-hmm.
That would be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Well,
would love that.
let's get out of here for now.
All right.
Tune in a bit. Watch Rhett dive into Phantom Liberty featuring the one and only Idris Elba.
Yep. Should be back in about an hour or so.
Cool ass dude.
Sick.
Thanks everybody for watching and or listening. If you're in the chat, props to you. I should probably have a chat open so we can, see the chat.
Keep abreast of the situation.
Yeah, I've been keeping the chat company somewhat tonight.
Good. Bless
But,
your
not
soul,
bad,
Rhett.
yeah. Mhm.
Thank you for doing that, taking that on. But everybody, we appreciate you. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're doing this later, we've been the guys, the podcast people on the podcast channel. We'll see you back here next time for Press X to Podcast.